Terra Magica. And what makes it so unique is that it gets its power by smashing together two things you'd probably never think belong in the same room.
At its core, the whole experience is framed as a 5-day journey through elements and self. And that word journey is so important here. This isn't just a random collection of workshops. It's a deliberate step-by-step path designed to guide you from one place to another using the ancient map of the 5 elements.
And here it is. This is the central idea, the core paradox that makes this whole thing tick. On one hand, you've got the explosive, powerful yang energy of kickboxing. That's the fire. And on the other, you have the deep, restorative yin energy of yoga, the stillness. The big idea here is that true, lasting change happens when you learn to harness both of these forces within yourself. Okay, so before we jump into the day-by-day elemental journey, we've got to understand the fundamental rhythm of this thing, because every single day is built on a simple, powerful, and totally consistent structure. Every day follows this exact pattern, this daily trifecta you see here. It kicks off with a 90-minute morning activation designed to build up your energy and skill. And it wraps up with a 90-minute evening integration to help you absorb everything and restore yourself. And then, smack in the middle, you have this huge chunk of expansive free time. And when I say huge, I mean huge. We're talking 6.5 hours every single day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds like a ton of just hanging out. But stick with me here. As you're about to see, this pause isn't just empty space. It's actually the most critical part of the whole transformation.
All right, now for the cool part. Let's get into the journey itself and see how that daily rhythm supports the bigger picture. Each of the 5 days is dedicated to a specific element. It creates this really powerful progression, taking you from grounding yourself in the earth all the way up to expanding into the ether.
Think of this slide as our map for the whole week. You can see the progression so clearly. Day 1 is earth, day 2 is water, day 3 is fire, and so on. And check out the names for the sessions: Warrior's Ground, Phoenix Descent. They're not just cool names, they're designed to capture the whole vibe and energy of that day's element.
So, the journey starts with earth. The morning practice, Warrior's Ground, actually connects the solid stance of kickboxing with yoga's mountain pose, Tadasana, to build a really stable base. Then, in the evening, the yin yoga deepens that grounding feeling with long-held hip openers. It's all about establishing your roots before you can even think about growing taller.
Okay, so once you're rooted in earth, day 2 is all about learning to flow, like water. The kickboxing in the morning focuses on footwork, agility, and fluid patterns, literally moving like water. And then the evening session actually happens on a beach, so you can sync your breath to the rhythm of the waves. The whole focus shifts from being a rock to becoming the river. Day 3. This is the midpoint. It's the peak of intensity. Fire. The Agni Forge session uses these super dynamic kickboxing combos to build what yogis call tapas. It's this disciplined inner heat that really fuels change. But it's not about burning out. The evening's Phoenix Descent is this beautiful candlelit practice that blends active flow with deep stillness, teaching you how to channel all that energy. It's about turning raw heat into refined power.
All right, so we've built our foundation with earth, we've found our flow with water, and we've stoked our inner fire. Now, the journey starts to get elevated. We're reaching for the higher elements. First, we expand into air, and then finally, we bring it all together in ether.
Day 4, air, is all about expansion, about clarity. And to really embody this, they actually change the whole environment. The group moves to this stunning nature park, Caminhac. And on a wide-open limestone plateau overlooking the sea, the practice is shadow kickboxing. This shift is crucial. It's about taking all that internal work and expressing it out in a vast open space, to gain a much wider perspective. And that brings us to the final day, ether, the element of space, of wholeness. The final session is where it all comes together. For 90 minutes, those two separate practices just merge. Mindful kickboxing flows seamlessly into a vinyasa yoga practice. And this is the moment where that whole paradox we talked about at the beginning, it just dissolves. The two sides become one single, unified practice. Okay, so remember that huge 6.5-hour gap in the middle of every day? Let's circle back to that, because according to this blueprint, it's not a gap at all. It's not filler, it is the secret ingredient. Think about it like this. The structured sessions are where the seeds of change get planted. But these unstructured hours, this is where they actually grow. Anyone in athletics or any high-performance field knows this.
The real gains don't happen during the workout, they happen during the recovery. It's the time when your body and your mind integrate the work from the morning and get ready for the evening. It's not empty time, it's integration time.
This whole philosophy is just summed up so perfectly with this phrase, the Italian art of dolce far niente. It means the sweetness of doing nothing. And in this blueprint, doing nothing is not laziness. It's an intentional, vital part of the whole process. The real magic happens in the silence between the sessions.
So when you boil this all down, what's the big alchemist's takeaway from this whole blueprint? What's it really trying to teach us?
The final session, the one where it all comes together, is called the Philosopher's Stone. Now, in old alchemy, that was the mythical substance that could turn cheap metal into pure gold. While here, it stands for the core philosophy. Your body is the laboratory. The practices, both the intense ones and the quiet ones, are the experiments. And the goal is that same kind of personal alchemy, transforming yourself.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. This is one very specific, very detailed blueprint, built on elements and energy and intentional rest.